Hello and welcome. My name is Alyssa. This is my channel of New Direction. And this is a Divine Feminine reading for the Divine Feminine in Complicated Love. I am not one who often does very many love readings per se. I very much find a lot of growth, or a lot of my calling has been about self growth and a lot of the personal healing. And so, love readings aren't something that I generally, do as a public kind of reading. But there's some things on in my life, and there's some other things going on in, other divine feminine, other people, other divine feminines in my life, who are also kind of going through this complicated love factor with either their divine masculine or a masculine within their life. So I really thought, let's do this. Let's do a reading for the divine feminine in complicated love. So that's what we're doing. So a couple housekeeping things. I am outside. I do apologize if we are interrupted, although it's actually pretty quiet in my house today. I'm the only one here. So if we do have any interruptions, it'll be from my animals, which I probably shouldn't have said that out loud. But anyway, knock on wood, that doesn't happen. Okay, let's get into this. I do cuss, so there's your heads up and your warning for that. And I am also nurturing my coffee. So don't judge me if you hear me slurping on that. Okay. All right. We're starting with the LQ deck because I really wanted a she-who of this divine feminine. A she-who of the divine feminine in this complicated love. And this doesn't, okay, so there are twin flame connections in this world, and there are also soulmate connections, and you do not need to be in a twin flame connection for it to be a life partner, okay? Some twin flame connections aren't even meant to be together within this lifetime, aren't meant to live in the same lifetimes. My twin flame is actually in the 5D realm, so... but that doesn't mean that I don't have other soulmates in this lifetime. Okay, does that make sense? And I think sometimes we get ourselves a little caught up in, okay, well, is it my twin flame or not? Well, let's acknowledge that they are a soulmate of some kind. The contract is some sort of soulmate contract connection. Okay, all right. The she-who for this divine feminine in the complicated love. The she-who for the divine feminine spirit in the complicated love. She who begins, primavera, launch, actualize, potential. Well, that's beautiful. Primavera. Wow. I love her, actually. This is a beautiful card. She who begins. Primavera celebrates the birth of all things in nature. She welcomes the rising sun as the herald of each new day. Delicate vines echo the fine chain she wears as a crown. Rather than become part of the vines, she moves into the next moment. Everything she honors has a fresh start. The grapes will be transformed into wine. The butterflies will lay eggs for the next generation of caterpillars. All things in her purview launch something else, so Primavera rejoices in the potentials of all things beginning. This card urges you to get started. Whatever has been on your mind or in your heart, this is the moment to begin. Commitment to the journey ahead by facing the dawn. You are being called forth to set the match to the fuse. It's time to light things up and to take the next bold step. Spread your wings and put a smile on your face as you greet the next good thing coming into your life. Like Primavera, open yourself to beginnings. It's time to actualize your potential. The questions here are, what do I want to start? Am I doing everything I can to actualize my potential? What new beginnings are happening right now? Well, that's kind of interesting, especially in this complicated kind of love manner, right? And look, Emily, she who questions is on the bottom here. Curiosity, destiny, search. Hello, beautiful girl. All right. Okay, let's get into this. So we are going to pull the energy of the divine feminine in this complicated love. And then the energy of the masculine. And I'm not calling them the divine masculine because I'm not, to be truthfully honest, I don't know how that works. I don't know if the divine masculine is, if you're talking in a romance kind of connection, if that's actually talking about a twin flame or not. So I thought, okay, well, I'll just talk about the masculine in general. I love that the white horse came into our divine feminine reading because, as a little girl, I always thought that the prince would come in and save me on the white horse. And it seems you're not going to poop in my video, are you? That's really rude. Oh, you just farted. That's even more rude. Oh, excuse me. But in life, I have really come to acknowledge that there was no white knight on the white horse. I was the knight, and that's my white horse. Okay? I just felt like I needed to take a moment to say that. Oh, they felt like that was what she was here to say too. All right, energy of the divine feminine here. What is the energy of the divine feminine in complicated love, spirit? The energy of the divine feminine in the complicated love. The energy of the divine feminine here in the complicated love. A woman holding her heart. Look at that. The energy of the divine feminine is a woman holding her heart. Well, isn't that something? The energy of the divine masculine here. Sorry, the energy of the masculine in this anxiety. Wow, and that came out really easy. Okay. The hopes of the divine feminine here. What are the hopes of the divine feminine in this complicated love? Blossoming abundance. Adjacent possibilities for the masculine. What are the triggers? The triggers of the divine feminine here, spirit. The triggers of the divine feminine in this complicated love. Community. The triggers for the divine masculine. Sorry, the triggers for the masculine. What are the triggers here for the masculine in this complicated love, spirit? Whoa, that's a lot of triggers to have there, masculine. Triggers here. Strategy. Actions. Actions needed to be taken. What are the actions to be? Broken heart and door to spirit for the divine feminine and the masculine. Carrying connections. Wow, isn't that something? And the angel of love on the bottom with the angel of balance behind that. Okay, wow, we are really digging into this. Okay, let's get started here. No, stay here, dogs. Oh, my neighbors are home and my dogs love to go and say hi to them every single time they pull in. Okay, let's do this. So, divine feminine. This woman holding a heart. The energy of this woman holding a heart here. When we're talking here, the energy of the divine feminine, it is literally a woman holding her heart. Like, that speaks for itself on so many volumes here, Yeah, the Ace of Swords. It's this idea. It's this beginning. It's this way forward for spirit to really be like, this is the way to see this. This is the way to see yourself in this. It could be the acknowledgement of your self-worth, the acknowledgement of being able to go forward here. Bearing your heart. And when you bear your heart, you bear your authenticity. You also bring that level of vulnerability with that heart, right? Like this woman here is a very vulnerable woman, But her purple hair says that she is connected to the divine there. She has faith. Ace of Swords here. It's almost as though this new kind of spark, this new light to the whole thing came forward here. Yeah. The Ace of Swords, because there was spirit, the Ace of Swords is almost that aha moment, almost like a lightning strike that comes in and just kind of zaps you and gives you this clarity, right? And it was the clarity here, the Ten of Swords. It was the clarity here for the need to walk away from something. And the Ten of Swords swords are intellect, you know, and when it's the Ace of Swords and the Ten of Swords, it's something to do here with your mindset. It's something to do here with the way that you have been thinking about things, the ideas and the processes here that you have been thinking. It's the need here to level up through that thinking. Some way of going forward here with your heart, there is this change. And the inspiration for really that clarity for what that kind of change looks like and what that change is, it's here. Listen to it, okay? It's literally being downloaded into your mind. It is showing you this is the direction that you need to walk away from, okay? And that could literally mean the relationship, but it can also, again, you know, with those swords, to me, I really feel like that's an intellectual thing. You know, walk away from the patterns of bad thinking, you know, harmful thinking, okay? Because a woman holding her heart is about embracing your trueness, okay? It's about embracing your authenticity. It's about embracing your vulnerability. It's coming forward here, you know, and that's very much needed from us divine feminines. You know, that is, you know, as we are all going through this, you know, kind of mass awakening in our lives, you know, and the energy here is that there's the spark here to transform yourself so that you are able to go forward being this woman, bearing her heart, you know, because that's a big one. Like, to be able to bear your heart, you know, you cannot be in a place of self-doubt. Like, this woman here holding her heart is solid in this heart that she's holding. She's solid in her decision to hold her heart out for the world to see, to hold her heart out for the masculine here to see. She is solid in that energy, okay? That's not something that she's backing down from or she is afraid of. But look at here, the energy of the masculine was anxiety. And if you can see, there's almost lightning bolts coming out here. Can you see that? It's like the ideas are being fed into this, you know, the ideas are here. It's like they're kind of getting the ideas, there's sparks there, but they're so fixated on the pain right in front of them that they can't see the light and the flashes outside of the window, if that makes any sense, you know? Look at the Lovers, the World, and the Five of Pentacles. This anxiety comes from, you know, this anxiety comes from the need here. Like, the Lovers is all about duality, you know, and what a sensual, beautiful card this is, but also how balanced this card is, okay? Because that's what the Lovers is. The Lovers is about balance. The Lovers is about the duality and the understanding here. And with the World following behind this, the World is a completion, you know, and sometimes it's very hard, you know, when anxiety is the energy of the divine masculine here, I almost feel like it is just, it's very hard for them to be able to see how that works as a whole within their life, you know, and maybe, you know, if this is a complicated thing, there has been, you know, some probably unhurtful feelings or some hurtful feelings within this love, right? Something that has triggered them, something that is making them anxious, something that they are fixated on the pain or fixated on something that they cannot change here, fixated on this, fixated on the loneliness and the despair, you know, and they're unable to see that this love and this world here, they need to embrace it. They need to understand that there are, you know, there's cycles here. So they're fixated on that pain. I want to clarify some of those. All right, can you clarify the Lovers for me here, Spirit? No, can you clarify the World for me, please, Spirit? Yeah, look at that. They're blocked from being able, okay, there's the Five of Pentacles again, which is this one. There's the loneliness here, you know, and they are blocked from being able to see their light, the Seven of Wands. Okay, they are unable to see their wholeness within all of this. Okay, so even within this relationship, they are unable to see their wholeness. All they can see is the pain and the despair because the Two of Swords, they're blocked here. Okay, the masculine here is very much struggling to see themselves as the whole, to see themselves as this world, as this whole being. Because even in the Lovers, we must be whole within ourselves. You know, in order to bring duality and flexibility to a loving relationship, we have to be first whole within ourselves. You know, as a woman holding her heart, this is somebody who is whole because she's solid in knowing her worth, what she means, the things she loves, the things she's passionate about, right? But this masculine is struggling to see that. This masculine is struggling to see their worth. They're struggling to come to their wholeness, and therefore they are unable to show up into this relationship as their full side of that duality, okay? There's this need of codependency almost, okay? Look here, the hopes for the divine feminine was the blossoming abundance, because the divine feminine sees a beautiful beginning here. You know, she has hope for this. She sees abundance, you know, in the future. She's hopeful here. That's a beautiful hope to have. Blossoming abundance. The Magician, look at that. And the Magician is a masculine card, you know, and it's almost as though, you know, like the Magician is about embracing your own powers, about having that powers all within your hands. And as this comes out like this, and kind of in a reading like this, I almost feel like, you know, the hope is here that the divine feminine is hoping that the masculine will step into his power. Okay, will step into his self-acknowledgement and his self-worth. Yeah, that the divine that the masculine within this will do this death and transformation, you know, allow for the old to crumble so that they can embrace their new, you know. It's almost as though the divine feminine can see this, and she can see that the masculine is struggling within their own powers. And she acknowledges, because, you know, if a divine feminine is standing here being able to bear her heart as honestly as this one is, she has done some awakening. You know, it takes self-growth, it takes self-commitment to be able to come forward and honestly bare your heart with that kind of energy, right? And so the divine feminine can understand that in order for this masculine to embrace his power, he must do this death and rebirth process. Okay? He has to shed the ways of the old. She understands that because that's something she has done. You see? Her hope is that for the masculine's sake, he can embrace his power, because the divine feminine already knows what that energy kind of looks like beyond, you know, beyond that rebirth. All right. The hopes here for the masculine was adjacent possibilities. Adjacent possibilities here. The King of Wands. It's almost as though the hope here is also for this masculine to embrace their power. Look at that. Adjacent possibilities. It's almost as though this masculine's hope is that, you know, within these doors of opportunity, they find themselves. Okay? They find their steadiness. They find who they are. You know? Their strength. Okay? Their King of Fire. Their King of Hearts, right? Their connection here to some sort of understanding, their connection maybe to their purpose or to the lessons of the life, or even just to, you know, to the divine here. You know, their hope is that through one of these doorways, through one of these options that's before them, they are going to be able to uncover who they are solidly, you know, as the King of Wands here. Who they are and what that means in their connection to a divine, what that means in their connection to the spirituality of their life. Sorry guys, you gotta give me a sec. My dog's barged through my door. Okay, outside please. No, you're not doing me in a movie. Come outside, come on. In and out stuff. You guys are worse than the kids. No, go and find something to do for a few minutes. I'm halfway done. Go on. Go on. Oh, goodness me, I'm sorry. I really feel like the masculine here is trying. You know, it's almost like they keep opening up all of these doors here in hopes to find this king on the other side. You know, in hopes to find what it is that they, you know, the answers that they need here. You know, to kind of open them up and make them this king. You know? All right. The triggers here was community for the divine feminine, which I found to kind of be, this could be talking about a 3D kind of situation actually, you know, like a three-person party, and where you don't want to be a third person, and you weren't, envisioning that whole kind of third person party by any means, But as a trigger, this could be something, you know. Okay, let's clarify that. Where did that tarot deck go? Right here. All right, let's clarify. Clarify this community here for us. The Tower. No, that's way too many. I'll take the Justice because I seen her. Oh my goodness. Cards. Cards. A trigger here was the Tower. To me, the Tower and then this Justice, almost some sort of destructive kind of pattern here that is imbalanced and definitely not fair. And then the Eight of Wands and this Three of Swords. For some people, this definitely could be a third party kind of situation. For some people, there was this maybe triggers of the past. Maybe it was something you knew about, or maybe it wasn't. Maybe this is a case of somebody hasn't been upfront, somebody hasn't been true here, and it kind of shook you. And I feel like it almost came in really quickly. It came in very quickly and kind of shocked you. That pain was kind of intense and quick. As a trigger, I can definitely see, how even worrying about third-party situations like this can be something that trigger and bring a lot of that pain. Can you clarify this Tower here, Spirit? Clarify the Tower here for us, please. The Nine of Swords. The Nine of Swords and look at that. That Tower moment was the Nine of Swords here, and then the King of Fire. This Tower moment was the acknowledgement here that you needed to let go of this masculine, or the Tower moment is the letting go of the masculine, the letting go of this King of Wands. Oh, well, that makes sense as a trigger. But the Nine of Swords is talking about, the anxiety behind it, the worrying. Is this going to work? Is this not going to work? What's the Justice here? Can you clarify the Justice for me? Mother of Wands and Ace of Pentacles for the Justice. The Queen of Fire and the Ace of Pentacles. Because the Justice here was that she balanced herself out. The Justice here is that the Divine Feminine stayed true to herself. And she knew that the new start here, that was the balance. The destruction, whether it was a third-party situation or not, whether it was even just people talking, family, outside, friend circles, whatever the case may be here. But there was something set this Tower motion. This Tower in motion, and this was a destructive pattern that came down, but there was this anxiety here of the King of Wands, and that was what struck it. It was their poison. It was their anxiety here. It was them not being able to embrace themselves. But here, the Divine Feminine, she embraced herself as the Queen of Wands and the Ace of Pentacles. She brought balance and liberated herself. She understood that even though the masculine here was falling short or doing whatever was, coming of his life, she embraced herself. And the Ace of Pentacles, she made a tangible change here. A tangible change that brought actual physical change into her life. Whether that was a split in this relationship or whatever that was, she liberated herself here. Okay, she drew the line in the ground and she said, this is it. This is my boundaries. No more. She embraced herself as this Queen of Wands. Look at that. He was so anxious and he was struggling to embrace himself, his true purpose here. And the Divine Feminine was just like, okay, well, you do that, but I'm not. I'm embracing myself here. The Eight of Wands, that spark. What is this Eight of Wands here, Spirit? Was the Ace of Swords. The Eight of Wands, the spark that changed it was the download here from Spirit and the clarity. You know, it was almost that acknowledgement for the divine feminine to be like, you know what? This is kind of what I just got from spirit. So I'm gonna take this change. I'm gonna move myself and do what needs to happen here within this situation. Okay? That was the Eight of Wands and the Three of Swords here. The death and rebirth. The Three of Swords was the pain from it, but the divine feminine was like, and changing. Okay? The Three of Swords happened. She knows that, and the Three of Swords is so heartbreaking. It's such a despairing card. Like that is pain. Okay? But there was transformation needed from that pain. The divine feminine acknowledged that. Whether this is a 3D a three-party situation and it was some sort of, relationship that happened that way, or whether it was just, them struggling to embrace themselves. I don't know what my dog has cornered, but something just bit her. I wonder if she's got, who knows? Okay, let's see. The triggers here by the masculine was the strategy. Maybe because they don't have a plan. I don't know. What is the triggers here? Can you clarify this strategy for me, Spirit? Clarify the strategy for me. The trigger here is the new beginning. The trigger here is them actually being able to strategize out their life and go forward here. That fool. The fool is the new start. The fool is the trust. The fool is the understanding that there is a need to go forward here as a different being. Okay? Lighthearted, whole, trusting spirit. And this trigger for them is this plan, is this movement. It's almost as though they are unable to see that plan, that strategy. They don't have that strategy. It's like, and the strategy to me is very much about like journaling. It is. It's about writing down the things in your life that you want, as well as the person that you want to be. And I almost find that that's a trigger for this masculine, to actually put out what it is, the kind of man that they want to be. Because almost within that journaling and that, and that writing down, okay, this is the man I want to be, is that acknowledgement that, holy fuck, I'm not that dude at all, right? And that kind of acknowledgement can really sting. But I can also see that, with this fool being out here, it's that acknowledgement that there is this massive need to change. And it triggers them. And whether that triggers them out of fear because they're unsure, they have yet to find that passion and that spark within inside them that it frustrates them, it hurts them, it scares them. The fool, what else here? What else for this? The Fool, the Empress, and the Page of Wands. Yeah, look at that. They're afraid to start new. They're afraid to almost like put out on paper what it is that they want to birth, the new beginning that they want to give birth to here as a person, as a soul being. Look, the Fool, the Empress, and then the Page of Wands. Okay? When we're talking about their trigger here, and it's this planning, it's this, strategizing of the human being that they want to become. Clarified by the Fool, the Empress, and the Page of Wands. It is a trigger for them to acknowledge the need to change here and what needs to change. The being able to, and sometimes I don't even think that's necessarily always masculine's fault. I just don't think that that's something that as a society we have encouraged. Girls always had diaries and did journals and stuff like that, but that's not something necessarily that masculines have had. And that is so important. Feminine or masculine, it's important to strategize in your life the things and the people and the person that you want to be, It is. It's just as important to pencil that into your life, divine, feminine, or masculine, okay? And I feel like that scares this masculine because they're just uncertain of how that looks, okay? The actions needed here from the divine feminine. Heartbreak and the door to spirit. Isn't that beautiful? Divine feminines, you must take your heartbreak to the door to spirit. You need to hand over this heartbreak to the higher. That is needed here. That is how we open ourselves up to the higher and to allow the divine to work complicated loves out. Okay, when we can take our brokenheartedness and hand it over to the divine and be like, this really hurts. Please fix it, And the divine the divine might not always be able to, you know, change those situations into what we are wanting them, but within that, the divine will definitely open the doors for what is going to best serve us. Okay? The actions needed here, the door to spirit and the broken heart. Look at that. There's this change here. The wheel. Okay? There's a change here for how things have been going. And whether that was, yep, Nine of Wands and the King of Cups. There's the change here. The actions needed here from the Divine Feminine was this change in the embracing of your cycles here. And then you embracing the King of Cups. Your solid place. Your masculine energy within that solid place of understanding and knowing. Okay? Trusting in the emotional, you know, well-being of your soul. Trusting in the divine's, you know, purpose for that well-being of your soul. Okay, it's just having faith. But look here, it's the acknowledgement of the cycles that you have been through. It's the acknowledgement of the cycles so that you can say, I understand them. I understand them. I understand the lesson. You know, I'm sitting deep within the thought here and I'm going forward different. You know, I'm making the move here. I'm connecting to spirit so that I can take the lessons of this heartbreak and I can actually put them into my life to serve me and to no longer hold me back. You know, I'm moving myself. That's the wheel, the change. And it comes with the acknowledgement. It comes with that nine of Wands. It comes with this acknowledgement of the cycles and the lessons that you have overcome. Okay? And the place of peace is the King of Cups. The place of peace is knowing, you know, that there is this connection, that you will be fine. You know, no matter whether this masculine figures their shit out or not, right? You will be fine on your own. This is the connection to spirit. And within that connection to spirit, that is where our first connection must always lie, is within that connection to spirit. The action needed here by the masculine was caring connections. And I love the first word, caring, you know, because sometimes it is that need to just show up and care, you know, caring connections here. The Chariot, the Devil, and the Six of Pentacles. Well, there's movement. The Chariot is about divine movement. The Chariot is about taking the reins and steering this in a new direction. And the Devil and then the Six of Pentacles. You know, if the masculine continues to just steer towards, you know, the low vibration devil energy, that is all that they will ever get back, you know. The need here in this caring connection is to take the reins and to steer the Chariot in a new direction. One of, you know, one of a happier kind of, in the Chariot here, one of a happier kind of nature, more positive energy than that low vibration devil energy shit. The Chariot here, the Ten of Cups and the Ten of Swords. Wow, is that not different? The Chariot was clarified by the Ten of Cups and the Ten of Swords, which the Ten of Cups is about emotional fulfillment, and yet the Ten of Swords is all about endings. You know, and I almost feel like this Chariot is this movement. You either steer yourself towards, you know, the Ten of Cups, or you steer yourself towards something that looks like this, you know. And the Ten of Swords, that's the movement away from something, you know. That's the acknowledgement that the way that things have been going just aren't the way that you're going anymore. You know, taking the reins of the Chariot and driving, you know, your life destiny in a different course. Acknowledging what has been done and then saying, okay, no more, you know. And you know, and if the masculine here is going to steer this direction, you know, if they're going to embrace this caring connection by any means, they have to be the ones who take charge of those reins. They have to be the ones who are going to step up to their selves and fulfill their selves emotionally, you know, and the baggage and the bullshit that keeps holding them back, and, you know, work on whatever that needs to be, you know, acknowledge their self-worth so that they can steer their horses in a new path, in a path that's going to serve this caring connection, you know? The devil energy was the Three of Pentacles, and I almost feel like this devil energy is this attachment. I almost feel like it's this attachment, you know, to this feminine, you know, and they're unable to like Three of Pentacles. It's this attachment to, and then the Three of Pentacles is about building things, building solid foundations here. I think this is the Two of, what is this? Look at that. The Three of Pentacles, the Four of Wands, and the Six of Cups. This low vibration energy, they have to steer this chariot away from here. They have to address the low vibration energy here. You know, the action needed from the masculine is to be able to acknowledge that there is just low vibration attaching, kind of intoxicating, addictive energy here. And it's harming this, you know, it's harming not only the masculine here, but ultimately the union of the masculine and the feminine here. There is this, you know, there is, the Three of Pentacles is the want to build the solid foundation. You know, not only for themselves, but for those they care about, you know. And then the Four of Wands is about the excitement, the completion. And the Six of Cups, look at that. The Six of Cups is a very twin flamey kind of card. But it's also talking about the roots and the reflections, the things that it took for this tree to grow into its own. I feel like this devil energy is just so much this addressing of what the masculine almost has to offer in this relationship. You know, and if they acknowledge that they are the ones who can change this, then they must acknowledge that this low vibration energy, you know, these fears that they have, it's keeping them from building this life that they want. It's keeping them even from, you know, these soulmate twin flame kind of connections, you know. It's holding them hostage to look at, here's the masculine down here, and the devil's holding this energy. And this devil is blocking, you know, this celebration and this coming together, this wholeness. And the Six of Pentacles, oh my goodness, the Six of Pentacles, you know, that's talking about the everlasting flow here of energy, you know, the infinity symbol, how it continues on. You know, the energy that you give out is the energy that you give back. That's pretty crazy. Wow. Okay, that's intense. This Six of Pentacles was clarified by the Four of Swords and the Nine of Pentacles. So the Six of Pentacles is talking about how the energy that you put out is the energy that you get back in. And I want you to take a look at this Four of Swords. Notice how they look like 11-11. The Four of Swords is also a very twin flame kind of card because it is talking about that kind of, that time out. It's almost talking about that separation period, I find, of twin flames and how that looks. You know, and that sometimes this need for self-reflection within each twin flame here brings in the self-fulfillment. Okay? There is this need here, though, to really acknowledge the energy that is being put out by the masculine. You know, because there needs to be that time that they are able just to hold up, take a pause, you know, do some self-reflecting and understand the Nine of Pentacles. Understand their wholeness within this, you know. Really, the masculine needs to really step up and embrace their wholeness. You know, that is why this love is struggling the way it is. That is why this love is complicated. Because the divine feminine here is like, I got my shit figured out. Like, I love myself and I have love to give. And the masculine's like, I don't know if I love myself. I don't know if I trust myself to be that kind of person, right? All right. A moon card here. Let's get a moon card here. A moon card for the Divine Feminine here. Moon card for the Divine Feminine. Emotions are running high, the supermoon. I did. All right. Well, that makes sense. And one for the masculine. A time for healing and a time rather to give than to take. Well, that makes sense. Bring love into the situation, absolutely. All right. And one last oracle card to finish up on. The message of going forward here. And we'll pull it from the ancestors and the angels. All right. One card, Spirit, to go forward on here for this complicated love. One card to go forward here. Oh boy. No shit. Father Sky. Trust in the unknown. Oh my goodness. F. Alyssa, you're looking for F in the alphabet here. Here we go. Trust your path is unfolding exactly as it needs to. You have a personal relationship with the Great Father, knowing that He is lovingly leading you forward. You are a co-creator to your life, and every thought, feeling, intention, and emotion you have is creating the road ahead. With that being said, you don't need to know every single detail that is going to unfold before you. When this card appears, you are being guided to step back and get out of your own way, because there is a greater power that is not only around you, but within you. And Father Sky is creating the best experience imaginable for you. Accepting this will allow miraculous energy to come into your life. So see things from a higher perspective. Like the eagle on this card can also appear when there is opportunities to improve the father connection in your life. If your father figure is in heaven, know that his spirit is drawing close. Even if he is on earth, there is an opportunity to heal something, whether past or present. Wow. Well, Divine Feminines, that was one heck of a beautiful read. Look at that. Heart Guardian on the bottom. Love and let yourself be loved. All right. Until next time, guys, take great care of yourselves. Bye now.